You don't want to be every time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that while I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the core. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Starts like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're After Dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches won't cut you short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzz beaters. We coming live all through your speakers, go.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckasher here with the Man Hour. Be sure to head over to manhourradio.com. Check out the merchandise page, and of course, check out the new and improved blog section as well. And if you'd like to get some stats and some scores and all that stuff, head over there too, because as of Monday, that's right, Monday, August 14th or whatever day it is, my dad's birthday, I will start having the data extract, the RPI or the APIs and all that good stuff happening over there at manhourradio.com. We got stats, we got scores, we have everything good happening over there at manhourradio.com. We do got a pretty good show for you guys lined up tonight. We got the if and then statements that we do every Tuesday right here on Man Hour Nation. We are going to talk a little bit about the New England Patriots and the new offensive coordinator. What is that all about? Matt Patricia? What are you doing over there? Like, we're going to talk a little bit about Carson Wentz and about how bad he sucks. And then, of course, we're going to talk about Michael Thomas. He's officially back at the Steelers camp here. But first, it is time to get shocked.
Man, it has been a long damn time since I've been on these airwaves. And there's a lot that we need to talk about. But the first thing I want to talk about, the thing that's really, really got me over the last couple of weeks, has been this Deshaun Watson thing, Buck. This Deshaun Watson thing is like, it's killing me. It's almost like nobody can see the other side of the fence, right? You look at Deshaun Watson and you hear on the ESPNs, right? Their political nonsense on ESPN or the Fox Sports and all that bull crap that they like to come at us with, you know, oh, you got to see this and you got to see that and blah, 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 blah. Deshaun Watson was given these appointments by the Houston Texans, right? He was given these appointments by the Houston Texans with these massage therapists. And I've seen these ads. Hell, I've had, these massage therapists hit me up on Facebook every once in a while trying to say, oh, I offer massages and for, a certain price, there's other stuff involved in it, right? Massage therapists. So he goes into these massage therapy appointments and does whatever he does. But whatever the case is, you're going there, you're going to the guy's hotel room, you know what's about to happen. There is no way that you can convince me at all that these were massage therapists. Let's call it what it is. They were hookers. He had appointments with hookers because that's his thing. He has a fetish. He likes to do his own thing. Whatever. That's his prerogative. But this man has gone through 2, not 1, but 2 grand juries that have said there's not enough evidence here to even bring this to a trial. And now the NFL is like, oh, well, we want him suspended longer, though. First of all, 6 games for a guy who's had 2 grand juries tell him there's not enough, evidence to bring this to trial. To be suspended 6 games, I would be arguing that he got suspended too much. He already missed all of last season. So now you're talking about 17 plus 6. That's 23 games. So now you want to go into this season because the pressure, that's all we hear about. The pressure from the outside was too great. So they had to appeal it. They had no choice. The court of public opinion forced them to go ahead and appeal this decision. So the court of public opinion now, because we're in this damn new day and age where everybody likes to cancel every freaking buddy for anything that they do, go ahead, try to cancel us. Guess what? We own ourselves. Anyway, you try to cancel everybody. So now what they want to do, the NFL is like, oh, well, what Deshaun Watson did was heinous. What did he do? What did he do? He went to these appointments with these hookers that were set up by ownership. Let me ask you a question. How long was Robert Kraft's suspension? How long was let's go with Big Ben Roethlisberger? Twice. How long were his suspensions? Let's go to Ray Lewis. Had a man's body in his damn trunk. Hey, that man's got a Hall of Fame plaque. Got a yellow jacket. So give me a break with all this nonsense. Nobody wants to look at it from both ends of the spectrum. Nobody wants to talk about the truth. All they want to talk about is what he was accused of. What he was accused of. And people are like, oh, well, what he was accused of. He went against everything that the NFL's, their player conduct is and their code of conduct. So let me ask you another question. If I accuse you of touching me, even though I know, both of us know it didn't happen, but I accuse you of it, and we go to court and a grand jury says there's not enough evidence here for you to go to trial, should you be fired from your job just because I falsely accused you of something? Because to me, with two grand juries telling them, hey, there's not enough here to take it to a trial, shows me, because grand juries love taking things to trial, shows me he didn't do this. That's my rant, Buck.
Alrighty, guys. So you have heard from the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Beastie Combs, and my man Alpha Rob is in the chat here live. Here's Combs. He's like, wait, Buck, is that a new guy on the show? Yes, it is a new guy on the show. My man Beastie Combs is officially back from his vacation. He enjoyed it, time with the kiddos, living life, getting ready for his wedding and all that good stuff, man. Combs, first things first, the people want to know, how have you been? Meaning that hat looks good on you. The Sons of the Sons of Anarchy shirt you got going on.
Sons of Bitches.
That's stupid.
It's a softball thing. Buddy.
I know.
Softball thing.
I know. But how have you been, Combs? I mean, it's been a minute.
It's been a minute. Look, trying to get stuff going. Got the job going. That's going. I'll just say that. We'll leave that part there. But look, you've got the wedding's coming up. Buck, you're going to be a groomsman in the wedding.
Yes,
I'm not sure if you've told the people, but that's coming up. I mean, I'm really looking forward to that. We got a lot of good things coming with that. But I got to tell you, we signed up for our wedding registry, right? And I don't know what I hit when I do the wedding registry. And now every time somebody buys something off the wedding registry, it sends me an email and tells me what they bought. So I know all of the kids coming in the wedding, and I'm like, oh man, what the so I'm on there and I'm like, how do I turn this off? Because I don't want to know. I'm not one of those guys who likes to ruin surprises, and I'm like, damn. I'm like, well, I can't figure out how to turn it off. So I keep getting these emails showing me, but that's going good. I just took the kids back to Vermont last week, but no, everything's going good, man. I can't complain. Life is good. And even if I do complain, who's going to listen anyway?
I'm right here, man. I got a shoulder for you to cry on anytime you need. So fun fact is, we did our baby registry, when River was still pregnant or whatever, when Cindy was still pregnant, right? Yeah. When River was pregnant, when Cindy was pregnant, we did our baby registry, and she's like, what do you want? And we went to Target and they gave us the little scan card and we could scan what we wanted, right? And my dumb ass is like, oh man, I'm going to need some Monster. I'm going to need some Mountain Dew. Go ahead and give me some pudding. People bought that shit, man.
Dude, I'm telling you.
I was like, what?
Michelle was the responsible one, right? Michelle's like, oh, we need new cutlery. We need new plates. We need new cups. I'm over here this would be a cool sign for the background of the show. This would be some cool stuff that I could use in the basement. So I'm over there putting stuff down for me, and she's over here. Oh, let's do the
Chicago
stuff that we
Bears
need for the
season
house.
Tickets, team.
Yeah, exactly. And then she got mad at me because I put a $500 mixer on there. She's like, you can't put a $500 mixer on the. I'm like, I can.
First things first, Michelle. I see you, Michelle. She says, "What's up, guys? What is up, Michelle?" That just encouraged Michelle to cook more, Combs. Hey, I need some cookies. I need some cake.
Buck, let me stop you there. Michelle has to cook to be able to cook more.
Hey. Combs, I think we both married the wrong women because Cindy burns macaroni and cheese and Michelle doesn't cook. So
but that's all right though, because I cook. I'm a good cook. Michelle can bake. I'll give her that. Michelle
Yeah.
Michelle bakes the brownies and the cookies and
That's
all
what
that
Cindy does.
stuff.
Yep.
So, yeah.
She made this thing like the other day called the ooey gooey cake.
Yeah.
And all it is like cream cheese and butter and butter and butter and some more cream cheese with like a little bit of flour. Man,
Yeah.
it was a walking heart attack, 100%.
Michelle said the other day, she's like, I'm gonna cook dinner on Wednesday. And I looked at her dad and I was like, you want Popeyes or what do you want for dinner?
Oh man, Michelle does not cook. Alpha Rob says, "Don't let Buck talk it. Be at all day wedding." What?
Yeah.
Basically,
look,
don't let me talk at the wedding.
I look.
It will take all day.
But
Ha, 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 ha.
Buck's gonna talk at the wedding. I can't wait to see when you get introduced at the reception. I want to see what kind of dance you're gonna break out. Like what are we
I
gonna
can do the
here?
worm.
You're gonna do the look. My nephews, they all asked if they could do the worm when they get introduced. I said, hell yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
No. All right, Combs, let's get into the show here. A few
What?
things have changed since you've been gone. I've added a few little segments here, a few segments there. And me and Wyatt had you on the phone for like a little while there, and we did this segment called If and Then. So it is pretty cut and dry. People give us statements, and it is a if, and then we complete it with the then statement. So the very first one here is you have a Denver Broncos fan at your work that is a very passionate Denver Broncos fan that used to be, quite frankly, on the show here. So I got to ask this question. If the Denver Broncos do not make the playoffs, then what, Combs?
That's par for the course. I mean, I don't think that this team is that good. I don't think that adding Russell Wilson added that much to this team. And I said it when they made the trade. They didn't get better with that Russell Wilson trade. And so if they don't make the playoffs, I think that's just normal because this team just is not a playoff team to me. They got a little hot last year with Drew Lock and then fell back down to earth. But I don't see it. And I know they think Russell Wilson is the savior there, but this team to me is not a playoff team.
Yeah, and people, like, every time they sit there and they say, oh, Russ instantly made this team a Super Bowl team. The Seattle Seahawks are a better team than the Denver Broncos are. Yes, the Denver Broncos were a quarterback away. They just got the wrong quarterback, Combs. I think Drew Lock right now this year is better and more improved than Russ on this Denver Broncos team. So the Denver Broncos did go 7-10 last season. So Combs, if the Denver Broncos do not make the playoffs, they completely wasted this Russell Wilson trade. They wasted Noah Fant. They wasted Drew Lock. They wasted those 3 or 4 first-round picks that they gave away as well.
They didn't waste Noah Fant because they already traded him.
Well, yeah, they traded him to Seattle to get Russ. So Noah Fant last year was on pace to be a top 7 tight end in all of NFL, and then you trade him away for a guy that's not even going to make you a better team. Because I have the Denver Broncos actually going 6-11 this season, so that's a step back from last year with adding let Russ cook, right? So
you added Russ, but look, I mean, you still, Javonte Williams is your first string running back. He's okay, but he's nothing special, right? And then you've got Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. If you lock those down, beyond that, I mean, you've got what's their third wide receiver? KJ.
I don't know his name.
KJ Hamler or something like that. And then their tight end is some dude named Albert. So I'm sorry, if your name is Albert, you're not an NFL player. I'm sorry, you're not. Like Pujols is about the only Albert I know that's ever been a good athlete. So it's just this team is not that good. This team is not going to be a playoff team. They're not even going to be out of the basement of their own division. They're the worst team in that division. Yeah,
I mean, like, hands down, this is a complete waste for all Denver Broncos fan and the new ownership which just got approved today.
Walmart.
So Sam Walton or whatever his name is, right? So now they have the Save Always brand ownership over there in Denver. So speaking of Deshaun Watson here, obviously Combs, Deshaun Watson was suspended 6 games by the NFL earlier this month, and then now the NFL has appealed this case, Combs. So if Deshaun Watson does not get more than 6 games, then what?
if Deshaun Watson does not get more than 6 games, then justice is served. Because this guy has been drugged through the mud, and I say it time and time again, and people want to argue the other side of the fence. Oh, well, what he's accused of is hate. You're right. What he's accused of is heinous. And if you prove him to be guilty, I'm with you. Suspend him for however long you want to suspend him. But I live in a world, and I fought for this country, and I believe in innocent until proven guilty. And everything that's been produced so far has said that this guy is innocent. And none of these accusations came about until after he asked out of Houston. Then they went and they tried to get 2 prosecutors to take this case, and both of them said no until they went to this DA, who was a young DA trying to make a name for herself, is the one that took on this case. And that in itself, and then all of a sudden out of the woodwork, oh, now all of a sudden we've got this case, and now we got this case, and cases keep getting added here and here. You know, I've got a lot of friends, right? And one of my best friends, you know, in the world, is his wife is a massage therapist, and that she's told me before that, for one, if any guy has ever even, like, because I've asked these things, because look, that's just the type of guy I am. Like, I've got that sense of humor, right? I'm like, what do you do when a guy pops a chub? She goes, oh, I know pressure points to get it to go back down. You know, and then I said, okay. I said, well, what do you do, you know, if a guy's asking you for a happy ending? She goes, oh, she's like, it's right in my contract. She's like, if you ask for that, it's the end of the session and I walk away, right? I haven't seen one contract come about that this guy signed that said any of this, right? And that, any massage that I've ever gone to has the same thing in their contracts, right? I've gone and got a couple of professional massages, and they say right in their contracts, you ask for anything sexual, it ends the session, and you're asked to leave, and you'll never be allowed back again. None of these women have produced any of these contracts. None of these massage therapists have said, hey, you know, look, he signed this. This is what it was. I left right after he did it. I was offended, blah, 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 right? And not only that, vast majority, I don't even think any of these women have said that he's forced them to have sex, right? This is just about exposing himself for the most part.
There's been a couple of them that say that he has moved his body in such a way where his penis has touched their hand and he has ejaculated.
Okay. So, God, I mean, no wonder he needs hookers, because he gets so quick, and he's not going to get a real woman to be like. But anyway, like, if he's apple pieing, American pieing all over these girls, you know, that's one thing, right? But exposing yourself and blah, 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 like, to me, there's stuff that has been out there that has been more heinous that hasn't been suspended. You know what I mean? You look at guys like Ray Lewis, you know, who I mentioned earlier in my rant. This guy's in the Hall of Fame, had a body in his trunk, right? Like, I mean, he's in the Hall of Fame. I don't even think he got suspended.
Not that I'm aware of. Yeah.
Then you've got Ben Roethlisberger, and I love Ben Roethlisberger. Hell, I've been to a couple of barbecues where Ben Roethlisberger and his wife and his kids were at. Okay? Ben Roethlisberger twice has been at parties or whatever, and he's been accused of it as well. I think his suspension was like 2 games the second time. The first time I don't even think he got suspended. The second time, I think he got 2 games. So you look at all these people that I mean, how long was Kareem Hunt's suspension? Wasn't it like 4 games or something like that?
He got released from the Chiefs and he missed the full season, if I'm not mistaken. But then he did end up getting suspended for like 4 or 6 games.
It was like 4 games, sure. And yeah. I mean, he kicked the shit out of that girl.
Well, in his defense, the girl did spit on him and call him the N-word.
Well, yeah, but I mean, look, there's video evidence that this guy kicked the shit out of her, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right? There's evidence against what you did.
Yeah.
And Deshaun Watson has denied the allegations from the start, has been drugged through the mud, missed all of last season. So he's already missed the 17 games, right? So now you're talking about another 6. So that's 23 games. For a guy who's been told by 2 grand juries, hey, there's not enough. And look, I've a friend of the show, Wayne G, has sat on grand juries before, and he said that every time you go to a grand jury, it's going to trial, because grand juries love to throw things to trial. And for a grand jury to not throw it to trial means that because the defense team is not even allowed at the grand jury. So there's no defense there for Deshaun Watson. Everything being presented goes against Deshaun Watson. So if everything being presented against Deshaun Watson with no defense and a grand jury says, I don't buy it. So why should we buy it? And now, but because this is what's getting pushed through the media and through the news and blah, 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 it's a joke. If I'm the Cleveland Browns, I'm fighting the NFL on this. If I'm Deshaun Watson, I'm fighting the NFL. If I'm Deshaun Watson, I'm suing the NFL.
Yep.
I mean, it's just, to me, this is just the simple case of the NFL thinking it's bigger than what it is. And what you're doing is ruining this young man's career over what? What if it does come out? Let's say it does come out 3-4 years down the road, right? Maybe not all of them, but maybe 5 or 6 of them say, you know what? The Houston Texans owner paid me to say this. Then what? He doesn't get his career back.
Right.
What are you going to give him, a letter of apology? You know what I mean? So, and on the flip side of that, what if it does come out and there's evidence that it's true, right? Does he get that tie back? No, but you can suspend him for, you can kick him out of the league. You can do whatever you want to do. But you didn't do that to Robert Kraft. What have they done to the I can't think of his name right off the top of my head, but the Redskins owner there? Like, what have they done to him? Look at how much stuff has come out about him.
Right.
I mean, this guy was pimping out cheerleaders, right? How long's he suspended for? Dan Snyder, that's his name. How long's he suspended for?
He was forced to give his wife ownership or something like that, or part ownership or something.
So his wife, so the same bank account, and it just goes, okay,
right.
Cool. Yeah.
But yet the Miami Dolphins owner gets a full year suspension for tampering charges.
Yeah.
For Tom Brady, right?
Yeah, because Tom Brady's involved.
Yeah, exactly. So let me piggyback of everything that you said here. If Deshaun Watson doesn't get more games, then the NFL is completely wasting their time just because we are fighting the wrong battle at the end of the day. Because let's just be honest, we are trying to single out an innocent man that has proven or has said he is innocent the whole freaking time. But yet, when we look across the pond here in Russia, there is a girl that said she did illegal drugs. She smuggled drugs into a foreign country, but yet we want to bring her home because she got sentenced for 9 years. And there's thousands of people in prisons right now doing drug charges for that same exact charge. So why is the NFL going after a innocent man at the end of the day? I think that, Combs, when this does go to federal court or federal jury or wherever the process takes them, I would be sitting here laughing my ass off if they knock it down to 0 games. But like, you know what? This guy, he didn't do anything wrong. 0 games. 0 games.
Yeah, I completely agree.
All right, so moving on. Let's not get too political here on Combs' first show back. We don't need to call 911 yet. So the next if and then statement of the night, Combs. As you know, Baker Mayfield was traded to the Carolina Panthers earlier this off season, and there is a tight quarterback race happening right now in Carolina. If Baker Mayfield, Combs, wins the starting job in Carolina, then what?
I mean, he's gonna win it, and he's winning it right now. Look, there's only one reason why it's a close race. I'm gonna use these air quotes a lot tonight. I think I like them, but it's a close race because they need Sam Darnold's draft stock to stay high. Or trade stock, I should say, not draft stock. It's trade stock to stay high. They need to say, hey, look, he's giving Baker a run for his money. Who wants him? Because they're gonna have to trade him. Because Baker Mayfield, there's no way on this earth that Sam Darnold is going to beat out Baker Mayfield for this starting job. You've seen what Sam Darnold has been over the last couple of years. He's not as good as I thought he was going to be coming out of college. And he's just not as good as they thought he was going to be coming out of college. That's why they went after Baker Mayfield. You don't go and get Baker Mayfield to let him lose the position, right? This isn't Matt Flynn going to Seattle. This is Baker Mayfield going to the Carolina Panthers to try to revive this team and this franchise. So if Baker Mayfield wins the wins the job, it's no shock.
No shock to you, huh? No shock at all. So I'm on the exact opposite train here. If Baker Mayfield wins the starting quarterback in Carolina, the Browns are the most effed up organization in all of football.
Panthers.
Just because, Combs, we sat on the show last year when the Carolina Panthers were 4-2. Were they 4-2 and 4-1 maybe? They were rolling. They were looking great. Sam Darnold was like on an MVP track. CMC was carrying that as like team, and then injuries started to pile up. We sat here and we both said, damn, maybe Sam Darnold isn't that bad. Maybe he just needed help around him the whole time. And that is just the case, and he has yet to have a full season with help around him. So I'm going to piggyback on what I just said, is if Baker Mayfield does get the starting job, the Carolina Panthers messed up as well, just because they got a $17-18 million quarterback that is going to be sitting the bench, that nobody's going to want to pick up that salary in the end. That is why Jimmy G hasn't been traded yet. That is why it took so long to trade Baker Mayfield, and I think he's paying like $3 million of his salary or something crazy. I was like that. Like, the Carolina Panthers and the Cleveland Browns both messed up if Baker Mayfield gets his starting job, Combs.
I don't think they did. I think Baker Mayfield getting the starting job is what is going to happen. I don't see any way that Sam Darnold wins this job. And like I said, I just think it's the Jets blowing smoke. You know what I mean? You look at some of these quarterbacks and you try, right? Like, you even look over at Pittsburgh, right? They tried to get Mitch Trubisky one more chance. And what did he do the other day? He went 0 for 16 in the passing drill. Okay. And everybody's already, the people of Pittsburgh are already clamoring for his release. There is no way they go and get Baker Mayfield and then let Sam Darnold beat him out, because I'm telling you right now, the first incompletion Sam Darnold throws, he's going to get booed out of Jet Stadium. Panther Stadium. Yeah. Sorry.
So I see what you're saying, but also on the flip side of the coin, money talks, Combs. You do not have a $17 million sitting quarterback sitting the bench versus a $2 million quarterback. That's just the way it is. Like, it doesn't happen, I don't think. Right. But we do have some comments popping in here. Alpha Rob says, if Baker can't beat Darnold out, it is a problem.
Yeah, and like I said, I think he's hands down probably beating him out. I haven't been to Panthers camp, but I can't imagine any scenario watching these two guys play, because look, Baker Mayfield's a hell of a quarterback.
He is.
Baker Mayfield got a raw deal in Cleveland, and for Baker Mayfield to not be able to beat out Sam Darnold, you're right, it is a problem. But I don't think there's any scenario I can picture where Sam Darnold's not beating out Baker Mayfield, or where Sam Darnold is beating out Baker Mayfield, I should say.
I can see it just because Sam Darnold does know the system. He has the trust of the receivers a little bit more. Just because Robbie Anderson tweeted out saying, I don't want Baker here. So.
Yeah, but winning cures all, right? You're going to win more games with Baker Mayfield than you are with Sam Darnold.
Only time will tell. My man Joey says, Bucky Buck, what's up, Joey? Is glad to see you there. So, Combs, Joey is on the radio playing songs from your childhood. How do you feel about that?
What's going on, Joey? It's not just, hey, Joey, you and I have a past. I hope your mom's doing well. But no, in all seriousness, Joey, man, it's good to see you. Happy to see you in the comments. And look, I hope he is playing songs from my childhood. I love songs from my childhood.
Yeah. And then Joey also says
Tupac or Biggie. What are you playing? Those are songs from my childhood.
No, it was more of like a soft rock. I can't remember the song. But Joey says, I don't know. The Browns should just get Teddy Bridgewater. Why should the Browns get Teddy Bridgewater? They have they just signed Jacoby Brissett, and they picked up another.
You said Jacoby Brissett like it wasn't a slap in the face of Teddy Bridgewater. Jacoby Brissett. Come on, Teddy Bridgewater is not better than Jacoby Brissett.
I would take Jacoby Brissett any day of the week over.
You are out of your mind, Buck. Stop it.
Hey, you sat here on the Combs, and there is a different aspect between Teddy.
It's 7:30. It's 7:30 here at Central Standard Time. I've been back on this show for a half hour now, and you're already going to make me yell at you.
Hey, listen, you said it yourself. There has been a reason why Teddy Bridgewater has been on 3 teams or 4 teams in 4 years. There's a reason for that.
There is a reason for that. You're right. There's got to be something there. But he's still a better quarterback than Jacoby Brissett. Come on, man.
Well, we all know that the Browns are basically a sinking ship. Would you want a cancer in the locker room to come and help sink that ship more if Teddy Bridgewater really is a cancer, or whatever he does to get himself shipped out?
I mean, it's a good point. I don't know, man. I can't look at those two guys and think the same thing. And I see Alpha Rob saying Bridgewater and Brissett are the same player. I disagree with that. Bridgewater has got more under his belt than Jacoby Brissett does. Jacoby Brissett was great when he was in the Patriots organization, but a lot of quarterbacks were great when they were in the Patriots organization, right? Because they were running the Tom Brady system. So it's not, he hasn't been the same guy. There's a reason why he couldn't win the starting job in Indianapolis. There's a reason why he's been a backup everywhere he goes. Teddy Bridgewater gets onto a team. Look at Buck always holding some pussy. Yeah. But he gets any team Bridgewater gets onto, he starts competing for the starting job. Yeah, that's the difference between him and Jacoby Brissett.
So that is the difference, because for one, Jacoby Brissett does have that history with Tom Brady and the winning ways. He did go to Indianapolis as a backup, and then he was thrown in the fire when Andrew Luck retired a week before the season. Like, hey, this is your team now, and somehow, some way, he still mustered up 6 or 7 wins with a team built around a different style of quarterback than what he was. And then, he went to Miami last year, and he was a backup there. So the problem is, the difference between these two guys is Jacoby Brissett knows his role. His role is to be a placeholder until Deshaun Watson gets back after those six games.
Bridgewater's in Miami, right?
I'm not for sure where he's at.
I believe he's in Miami. I think that's what Joey's saying there in the chat too. But
Teddy Bridgewater wants to compete for a starting job.
Teddy Bridgewater will be the starter of the Dolphins by week 7.
You think so?
Yeah.
So
Tua's not the guy. Tua's not the guy, and they went out and got a whole bunch of weapons. They're going to realize Tua isn't the guy, and then Bridgewater is going to get his opportunity.
So do you think because of a new head coach, a new system, yada yada yada, don't you think that Tua might have a little bit longer leash though? No, because the Dolphins want to win. The Dolphins want to win, and they have to win.
They're going to realize that Tua's not the guy, and I'm telling you right now, Teddy's going to be that starting quarterback there by week 7. Tua's not the guy. Tua's terrible.
We will have to talk about that here. Alpha Rob says maybe the Panthers seen enough of Darnold like the way the Colts seen enough of Wentz after year 1. I agree with that to an extent. If they've seen enough of him, why didn't they try to trade him during the offseason when there were potential traders out there? Seattle,
because they didn't have Baker yet.
Yeah, but they drafted.
Yeah, but you're not going to start a rookie right out the gate.
Why not?
You're not going to start a rookie right out because teams just don't do that anymore.
Suit Boss put out those stats saying,
but he's not
start the rookie.
Yeah, there are some rookies that's just like last year, right? There's no way that the Red Rockets should have started over Justin Fields. You should have given that team to Justin Fields and let him go with it. It would have been
that's a lie.
No, it's not a lie. But there are some quarterbacks that are ready, and there's some quarterbacks that are not, and the guy that they drafted is just not ready. Come on.
Well, if you don't think he's ready, Sam Darnold was out there. You have a lot of picks. You could have traded him to Seattle and got Russ.
And the Broncos had more to give up. You're getting Noah Fant. You're getting all these guys. The
Panthers had a top 5 pick.
You're going to trade a top 5 pick for Russ?
The Broncos
what did. Is he, 37? How old's Russ?
34, 35 maybe. For sure.
Yeah, but look, you've got, who was the guy that they drafted? What the hell was it? PJ Walker?
Yeah, PJ Walker was the XFL guy. Let me look it up.
I don't even think
Panthers.
I'm not sure they drafted a quarterback.
I thought they did. But
I
they
don't
have
think
P.J.
so.
Walker on the team. Matt Carroll, Ole Miss.
Oh, yeah, but that guy...
Matt Carroll's better than both of them.
No, stop.
What do you mean, stop?
Stop.
Are you serious right now?
You're saying Matt Carroll's better than Baker Mayfield right now?
So I am a firm believer, just because like I coach at the high school level here. If a player is neck and neck, you go with the younger player because he has more room to grow. I think Matt Carroll and Baker Mayfield are kind of right here, watching training camp, reading reports, and like all that stuff. I think they're right here. You go with the younger guy.
Fuck. Matt, I think it's Corral, whatever the hell his last name. Look, stop. He's not better than Baker Mayfield right now. Could he be better than Baker Mayfield in a couple of years? Possibly. He's not better than Baker Mayfield right now. Baker Mayfield took the Browns to the Baker Mayfield took the Cleveland Browns to the playoffs. Something we haven't seen in our lifetime.
Right. Who did the Cleveland Browns have that year? 2 top 10 receivers in the league, 2 top running backs in the league, a great defense.
Who was throwing them the ball?
Baker Mayfield was throwing them the ball.
Okay.
Who does Baker Mayfield had to throw in Pantherland? Robbie Anderson?
I mean, I don't.
Come on.
I mean, you got Robbie Anderson,
which I know he is the number 2.
Core. They really don't have a great receiving core.
They have DJ Moore, which is not bad.
Even their tight end's last name, the hell's his name? It cracks me up.
Tommy Tremble.
Tremble. There you go. Because what do you do when you're scared? You tremble.
He's terrible. Tremble is terrible right now.
You have to see what you got. But look, I mean, there's a lot of teams that you don't know what you have. Like a lot of people are down on my Bears. I actually think the Bears are going to have a sneaky good season.
Oh my God.
Let's
go ahead and talk about them right now, Combs. Since you brought that up, since you're going to have a sneaky good season, things are getting great up there in Chicago. So Combs, obviously Roquan Smith said, you know what, F you guys, I want to get paid, and the Panthers the Bears are like, no. So if the deal is not met with Roquan Smith and the Chicago Bear, Combs, then what?
I will lose my ever-loving mind. Roquan Smith is the corner piece of this defense. Roquan Smith is a top 3 linebacker in this game right now. And the Bears, this is what kills me so much right now about Chicago sports. Chicago sports as a whole has this thing where all of the front offices treat this damn city like it's a small market city. They don't spend money. They don't do the things they need to do to give us winners. But we still pack the damn stands. We still get out there and we still watch our teams because we love the sports and we love our teams. But the ownership, they don't spend money. They treat it like it's a small market team. And the Bears, look, I like what the Bears have done. I do like the addition of Byron Pringle. I love what the Bears have at the running back position, obviously with David Montgomery. I do love Justin Fields, as you see here in the background. I think Justin Fields is the real deal. And I'm hearing all sorts of things out of camp, like he's having one of the best crazy turnarounds from year 1 to year 2 that they've seen in years. Okay. Not only that, but also factor in the fact that they are going to have a very weak schedule, and they do have a very weak schedule. But if you don't sign Roquan Smith, if you don't give this guy a 5, 6, 7 year extension right now, and you let him walk, or you don't at least get something huge in a trade, I mean, I'm talking huge. Like, you better get a couple of first-round draft picks if you're going to trade Roquan Smith. Then that's a loss for the Bears. I mean, and that's detrimental to this team. So if they don't get a deal done with Roquan Smith, it's detrimental to this team.
Yeah, so if the Bears do not meet a deal with Roquan Smith, then this is a black eye on the new coach and the new general manager. Combs, their names are slipping my mind right now. It is Eberflus and Pools, right?
Yeah.
Pools, yeah.
Ryan Poles.
Yeah, Poles. So this is a huge black eye on this organization because for two things. Yes, everything that Combs said, Roquan Smith is the centerpiece of the Chicago Bears defense. Also, they've let a couple more pieces of that defense already walk and not get anything in return. And there are people out there that are chomping at the bits that are probably tampering with Roquan Smith right now saying, hey, if you just walk away, there's $100 million sitting right here, and look no further north, Combs, than Green Bay, Lambeau Field.
He can't just walk away. He's still under contract.
Well, he can sit out the whole season and bada bing, bada boom.
Season, yeah.
Right? So with that being said, if they do not meet a deal with Roquan Smith in the next few days, a week before the second or third preseason game, the rich are going to get richer in the NFL, aka the Packers are going to land a nice guy.
I will say this about this regime, since you brought up Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus. What we haven't had in the Chicago Bears organization is transparency. We haven't had a front office that will come out and tell us exactly what's going on. Instead, they'll try to weed it out and be like, oh, there's no issue here. We'll get something done. And then tomorrow you find out he got traded, right? Ryan Poles came out today after this thing broke. Ryan Poles called a news conference. And Ryan Poles said, look, there's definitely some issues here. We've made him offers. He doesn't like the offers that we made him. We are working to get a deal done. But in the event that we can't get a deal done, we are going to trade Roquan Smith. Like, he came out and told everybody, hey, look, there's real issues here. We're going to try, but if not, and that's something that Bears fans haven't had. So Bears fans have to be at least, I would say, optimistic about the future of this organization with Ryan Poles. Now, I believe in what Ryan Poles does. Do I believe in Matt Eberflus yet? No, I'm going to have to see what he does during this season. I'm going to have to see Luke Getsy and how he transforms this offense. I like what I'm hearing coming out of camp. I like what I'm hearing, in the realm of everything. I like what I've seen on paper. Like I said, I did like the N'Keal Harry pickup until find out he gets a really bad high ankle sprain the other day in camp. So that's ugly. He probably ends up getting cut. I like the addition of Byron Pringle. He's got like a hamstring or something going on, and there's rumors out there that the Bears are looking at guys like Will Fuller, which would be a great pickup for them. They're out there they're talking with Cole Beasley. That's something that Bears fans haven't had in a long time, like a team trying to get better. And I think that the Bears, with what they have right now, and look, they don't have a cupcake schedule, right, per se. But, I mean, you're talking about a schedule that, has, let's see here. You've got teams like, look, the 49ers are going to be tough. But then you've got the Texans, the Giants, the Washington Commanders. That's going to be a sneaky tough game. But that's a game you can win. You're out of division games like the Falcons, the Dolphins, the Jets, the Giants. Those are going to be games that you can win. The Bears are thought around widely as maybe a 4-win team. I really see about 7 to 8 wins out of this team. Now, I don't think that they're a playoff team by any stretch of the imagination. In order for them to be a playoff team, they've got to come out and just start, and it's got to start right off the bat, right, with the 49ers game. And you come out and you beat the 49ers because this is a team that could probably be a Super Bowl contender in the NFC. And they're all hyped up about Trey Lance, and you come out and you beat their ass, and then week 2 you come out and you find a way to beat the Green Bay Packers, and then all bets are off, right? The Bears start this season 2-0. I'm gonna be on this show talking some shit,
right?
But it's got to be that, like, they've got to win some games they're not supposed to, and they've got to win all the games that they're supposed to. Now it's the NFL; they're probably going to lose a game that they're supposed to win. They're probably going to win a game that they're supposed to lose. But when you start stringing together games that you're supposed to lose and turning them into wins, and then you win a majority of the games you're supposed to win, you're going to have a really good season that nobody saw coming.
Yeah, and just looking at the schedule, just looking at those games that you named, there are 6 wins that you can almost mark up almost instantly, and then that's not even counting the division games because you're probably going to sweep the Lions. Let's just be honest, the Lions are a good team, but they just can't put shit together, and you're probably going to split with the Vikings like you do every year. That right there, Combs, is 9 wins.
Dude, if they come out, like I said, and they beat the Niners and the Packers, they start the season out 2-0. They got the Texans, Giants, Vikings, and Commanders. You could easily be 6-0 or 5-1 after the first 6 games before you go to New England to play the Patriots on Monday Night Football.
How about even if you don't start 2-0? Say you start 0-2 still, but you battle and you look good. There is momentum. Then you go into Houston,
but that's
Texas.
what we expect. So that's what me, like real Bears fans. There are those crazy Bears fans who think that we have a chance every year, no matter who our quarterback is, and we're going to the Super Bowl. But realistic Bears fans like me, like I was like, all right, 6-7 wins, but we could have a 6-7 win season and have it be a really good season, right? Because if Justin Fields is turning things around, if this offense looks really, really solid, if the defense is playing well, and we just need to add and patch some holes in the offseason, we can go ahead and do that. But then you could also have a 6-win season and it be really, really bad. Yeah. Like, so that's
lie, right?
Yeah, you've got to be able to see what's going on there. And if you see a lot of growth from Justin Fields and he's not doing the same things he was doing last year, then that's a win for the Bears. But if all of a sudden he's putting all that together, plus you're winning games, I mean, a 9-10 win season and maybe even a sneaky wild card playoff berth, even if you lose in the first round, I mean, that is basically a Super Bowl for the Bears this year.
Momentum is killer. And just before we move on here, just to add to a couple points there, these people that they're talking about, Justin Fields and Roquan Smith and Mac was let go, walked away free. Who was the defensive back? They also the Bears let 3, 4, 5, 6 guys go that were really intricate part of the Chicago Bears. But this is the key. They were not they're not Pools guys. They're not Eberflus guys. So it is easier to let them walk away or get a low return value in them. So
I'll tell you, that was my only bad feeling this offseason. I thought the Bears had a really good offseason. I like the Ryan Poles thing. I'm not sold on Eberflus yet, but I don't hate it yet either. But the one thing that I was you got Robert Quinn, right? And you're only supposed to win 4 games, even though I think you're a 6-7 win team anyway. Why are you not trading Robert Quinn and a first and 2/3 over to the San Francisco 49ers to go out and get Debo? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know the Niners were like, oh, we're going to sign him. But if you throw that at them, like, you've got to at least make a move. But there was not even a move, like, not even an attempt at a move to go get Debo Samuel.
Maybe they don't have faith in Justin Fields to give him the ball consistently. So
there's been those rumors. There's been those rumors that this regime, they're not married to Justin Fields because he's not their guy, which that scares me a little bit too. But like I said, I mean, everything that I'm hearing coming out of camp from all ends of the world, even the guys that the only think still that this is a 4-5 win team, is that Justin Fields is making a believer in camp, and
which he has to.
Yeah, he has to. He's got to come out and he's got to show growth.
Right. And so this is coming from a Packers fan. Joey says, I think the Bears are going to get 8 to 9 wins this season. This is coming from a Packers fan. So
look, I'm with you. I like that. You're not going to like the fact that I actually think that that's where the Packers are going to be too. But I like, and that's not me just being a Bears fan. This will have to be Aaron Rodgers' best magic trick, right? To take this team to, I think this is the Vikings division to win.
You're right.
I really do. I don't think that the Packers are where they would have been had they been able to keep what they had built with Aaron Rodgers, but instead they went out and gave a 37-year-old Rodgers $50 million a year and now they can't afford to keep other guys. So now you've got guys like Devontae Adams going to Vegas, and you've got, some of your offensive linemen that you can't afford to keep. And now all of a sudden he's got less protection. He's got less weapons, and you want him to do more. I just don't think that's realistic. And I see your Joey saying realistic predictions. I don't see the Packers as that juggernaut that they've been. And they have been a juggernaut. Look, there's been the Packers have owned this division for decades. I mean, decades. They've been the best team in this division. I think that's going to start to peel back a lot. And I think that it starts this year.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on to another team that has Super Bowl aspirations and whatnot here. Alpha Rob, these are your boys, the Buffalo Bills. So, guys, the Buffalo Bills went 11-6 last season, Combs here, and they are poised to go to a Super Bowl and do great things. They've had a great offseason. But, Combs, if the Buffalo Bills don't win the AFC East, then what?
Then Josh Allen got hurt in like week 4, 5, or 6. I mean, that's the only way the Patriots take this division away from them if Josh Allen goes down to injury. If the injury bug gets to this Buffalo Bills team, yes, the Patriots are good enough to win it. But I don't see, barring injury, there's no way. But that's the only way. If the Bills don't win, it's because of injuries.
Yeah, and then I'm going to say if the Buffalo Bills do not win the AFC East, it is because their offensive coordinator was more valuable than they first thought. Because, obviously, he's calling the plays. He's putting in Josh Allen's in positions to, win. And then so when you take that intricate part of that offense away, and they were really only 13 seconds of a defensive stand away from probably going to the Super Bowl, I think they would have probably destroyed the Bengals in the AFC Championship game. They are going to miss coaching more than they thought. And also, I think if the Buffalo Bills do not win the division, as bad I've been dogging the Miami Dolphins all season long, I think the Dolphins would become the champions of the AFC East, not the Patriots.
What? Pull up Alpha Rob's comment.
Master Phelan, Casey.
What, Alpha Rob?
Isn't Case Keenum the backup in Buffalo?
Yeah, but come on.
What?
I know you're a Buffalo Bills fan, Alpha Rob, but come on, man. We're talking realistic here, right? You just heard a Bears fan say that the Packers have owned the division. You just say you had a Packers fan come on here and say the Bears are going to have 8 to 9 wins. You cannot, for the life of me, there's no way Case Keenum is better than Mac Jones. Okay. I'm trying to think of the other teams in that division.
Zach Wilson.
I'll give you, he's not even better than Zach Wilson.
How about Joe Flacco that is outperforming Zach Wilson in camp? Right.
I think it's better than two. Did you see that meme the other day that said Zach Wilson said, "Yeah, he's got some balls being better than me in camp right now." Isn't his wife 37?
Yeah, I saw that. Lovins, motherfucker.
Yeah, look. Case Keenum is not. He's the second from last. If you start knocking, putting all these teams up there, you put all the. I think maybe you could put him up there with Tua. Out of all the starters, I think Tua, he might have a chance to win that quarterback battle, but that's about it.
Yeah, well, maybe over Jets. I don't know. It just it's all about fit. I've liked Case Keenum as a quarterback, but he is a journeyman backup like Colt McCoy is. Hell, Chad Haney's 48 years old, still being a journeyman backup in the NFL. So yeah. I don't know.
That's what guys like him and Mitch Trubisky. That's gonna be. I think Mitch Trubisky is gonna be in this league for a long time. Probably about 10 to 12 years. He'll be because he's a good enough backup.
Yeah.
He's a guy to come in and win you a couple of games, when your quarterback goes down or when you just want to give him a rest or something at the end of the season. But he's not a starting quarterback. Just like Case Keenum is just come on.
Already, Combs. So the final if and then of your first show back here, we are going to travel down I-65 to Nashville from Louisville, Kentucky here. And the Tennessee Titans drafted Malik Willis in the 3rd round of this year's draft. When that happened, Ryan Tannehill flat out come out and lied and said, "I am not a mentor to a young quarterback." Then since then, he has obviously stepped off those comments a little bit. He went to see a psychotherapist, like a therapist, because he was in a bad place, like allegedly, yada yada yada. So, Combs, with that being said, if Malik Willis starts for the Tennessee Titans, then what?
Ryan Tannehill got hurt. I mean, look, here right now, Malik Willis, I think he's listed behind Logan Woodside on the depth chart, if you look at the depth chart. So he's not there yet. He's going to need a year or two. And this is Ryan Tannehill's job for the foreseeable future. I don't know why it's Ryan Tannehill's job for the foreseeable future. He's the reason why they haven't won a Super Bowl over the last 3 years. But I don't know. To me, Ryan Tannehill is going to be the starter. There's no way Malik. I mean, he'd have to start. He'd have to hop Logan Woodside too right now, and I don't see that happening. I did like the addition of Robert Woods to this team. I think Ryan Tannehill is going to benefit from having Robert Woods on this team. Austin Hooper, the tight end, was also another good addition to this team. And then, I mean, you got King Henry. So he's got more weapons than he's had in the past. I think they upgraded with Robert Woods. I know they lost. God, I can't think of his name right now. A.J. Brown. But I think Robert Woods is a great replacement for A.J. Brown because Robert Woods is a fantastic wide receiver. He's got to stay healthy. He does have a tendency to get hurt, but I think it was a good addition after losing A.J. Brown. So if Malik was, I mean, it's everybody got hurt.
Yeah, and I don't think that's the case because I think if Malik Willis starts for the Tennessee Titans this season, it is because the Tennessee Titans are in full tank mode. They let their best receiver go. They are. King Henry is now on the latter side of his career. They have a two-headed monster in the backfield now with King Henry and Hazen Haskins, I believe his name is. Like they both are like Haskins and Hillard and there was another guy that they traded. They all stepped up in King Henry's absence, and they've seen that. So Ryan Tannehill, Combs, has improved each and every year since he got away from Adam Gase and the Miami Dolphins. Just like Derek Carr, he is slept on. He is underrated. People do not value how good of a quarterback he is. Look what Ryan Tannehill did last year. They were literally giving the ball to Derrick Henry 30 to 40 times a game, and then they completely had to change everything that they did, and then he still led them to the playoffs, and they lost to the Super Bowl runner-up in a last-second field goal. The Tennessee Titans are a pretty good team with Ryan Tannehill at the helm. So if Malik Willis starts this year for the Tennessee Titans, they are tanking. They are pulling the Seattle Seahawks. They are pulling a Cleveland Browns. They want that first overall pick.
Yeah, I mean, that would be another reason. But they're not. I mean, they're not. They're just not. What's going on, Drew? I see you in the comments. I don't see. I just don't see anything. And it might be a tank, but at the same time, like it would have to be a tank after like something happened to Ryan Tannehill, or they just get off to an unimaginably bad start and like they're like 0-5 or 0-6, and then they're gonna go to him or something to give him a shot, and then they're just trying to tank. But I just don't see that scenario in anything.
mean, to be honest, a 0-5 start is not out of the question. To be honest, because they do.
Dude, they start against the Giants.
Well, they started a very good Giants team with Saquon Barkley added 3 inches to his quads. Have you seen his quads, Combs? You can put both of our bodies together, and one of his quads is bigger than both of our
Dude,
bodies.
they have running backs carrying dead linemen out of their camp.
That's fine. They'll be fine.
They're not good.
They're going to win the East. And
Oh
then
my
they travel
God.
to Buffalo. Then the Raiders are always good the first 8 weeks of the season. Then at Colts and then at Commanders. I mean, it's a very good possibility they could start 0-5 no matter who the quarterback is. Tom Brady can be their quarterback. I still might start 0-5.
I'm not gonna lie, I do realistically see a 2-3 start for the Tennessee Titans.
Well, I mean, honestly, 1-4. I mean, because the Raiders are going to be hot the first 8 weeks of the season, and then they always fall off the second half of the season.
They're not going to fall off this year. The Raiders are.
Yes,
the Raiders are the real deal. The Raiders are going to win the West.
No, shut your damn mouth.
Raiders are going to win the West. Sorry, Kansas City fan. The Raiders are going to win the West.
I am a Chiefs fan.
You're going to realize
I got
how
my Super
much.
Bowl hat.
You're going to
I got my
realize how much you missed Tyreek Hill by week 4.
We got Sky Moore. Sky's the lemon with Sky Moore, baby.
You can put out all the pro tweets you want. Sky Moore, sky's the limit. That's stupid.
Hey,
Stop.
Are you going to say that to Sky Moore when we have him on the show in like a few weeks?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll be like, who are you?
Who are you? Anyways, my man Isaac Hatfield actually played against Sky Moore last season. He put up 6 touchdowns against him in the first half of the game. So
That means your friend wasn't that good.
he is a long snapper, so he wasn't playing defense.
Oh, okay.
That's besides the point.
Yeah, I mean,
So
so playing at Perkins School for the Blind?
It was Northern Illinois. No, yeah, Northern Illinois.
Same thing.
Same thing. So Combs, do you want to carry on, or is hour the limit for you?
Hey, let's go with it, baby.
Let's go
I'm
with
having
it.
fun, man.
Things are rolling. The boys are back in town. Like it feels like old times. Like a lie. We got Combs back. Drew's like, damn, we missed you, Combs.
I know, because you've had to listen to this idiot for the last 3 months.
Hey, we had Joe in there for like a little while. Like everybody
Who?
Joe Tebow, or whatever the hell his name is.
Oh, Jesus, that guy. Mr. Joe Tebow.
Yeah. Did you ever see my troll videos that I made of him?
I did, but only because he tagged me in them and asked me to come back and save you too. But there's something wrong there, man. You keep poking that bear, and eventually, I don't know, man. Like it seemed like he was, at sugar-free pudding time, man, and you were interrupting him because he was cranky with you, and then you were trying to play basketball. Like, dude, if you play basketball like that, man, I will take you one-on-one. Like, hey, I mean,
we have a rehearsal dinner coming up like August 30th.
September 30th, but yeah.
Screw dinner, Combs, straight to the blacktop, baby.
Hey, we'll go to the best man's house. He's got a hoop out back, man. We'll play it up.
There you go.
But
we might have to YouTube live that.
Yeah, we might have to. But no, I mean, look, this guy is preaching that.
Drew, you shut your whorish mouth.
You've got to. We all babbling buck for the last 3 months. We got to listen to this guy talk about, stop swearing in front of kids, blah 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 blah, and then at the same time, making personal attacks against your wife and making personal attacks against you, and it's like, guy, you're sitting there preaching stuff, and then you don't even practice what you preach. Like, go away.
You want to know what the funniest thing ever is? Is like, don't curse, and then he continues to like curse like 15 times in that
and not only that, but man, he seems like one of those. He's like one of those TV midnight infomercials, right? If you take this, you might have gonorrhea, diarrhea, hemorrhoids, bladder cancer, might cause rectal bleeding, anal seepage, and he's got all of it. Like, I don't know, he took one of those pills that what he could do? He could be one of those guys where he makes a lot of money. You've seen those infomercials too, right?
Yeah.
If you've ever been exposed to mesothelioma,
Have you ever been exposed to Joe Tebow's nonsense? Yeah, you might.
No.
Anyway, speaking of nonsense, Combs, perfect segue into the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots have finally named their offensive play caller, their offensive coordinator per se, and that is Matt Patricia, former Detroit Lions head coach. And I believe he was a defensive coordinator for the Patriots before that. But Matt Patricia, Combs, is putting in a zone blocking scheme for the New England Patriots. If you guys do not know this, a zone blocking scheme is a lot different than a gap blocking scheme. And that's what the New England Patriots have been running since Tom Brady was there, is a gap blocking scheme. You go to this hole, you block this guy. It has been reports and it has been shown that Mac Jones has seemed lost and very confused in this new offense, Combs. So as a second-year quarterback, having the success that Mac Jones had, a Pro Bowl season, led the team to the playoffs. And, you know, they were arguably one of the most exciting teams in the AFC for a while there. How is this new scheme, how is this new look going to affect Mac Jones and the New England Patriots moving forward?
I don't know. You know, it's one of those things where, because look, we've been accustomed to what we thought was the Bill Belichick way. And you heard me say before that this is more like it was the Tom Brady way. And Mac Jones looked really good last year, but they were running that same offense that they had always run. So to change it up, especially with a guy like Matt Patricia, who was a complete failure in Detroit, and then he ran back home to New England, to let him come in and change it all up again, like I don't know. I don't know what we're going to see out of the New England Patriots. I always give them the benefit of the doubt because they're the New England Patriots. I figure they'll find a way to make it good, but I don't know. That's just me being honest. I don't know what we're going to see out of the New England Patriots this year. It's a complete surprise.
Yeah, you are 100% because it is a complete surprise. But just because like last year, it was a complete surprise. Then many of us hadn't 5, 6, 7 win range there, and our guy Wayne G said, hey, they're going to get 9 wins, and he was pretty much spot on with the Patriots all season long, which was crazy that he basically nailed their season 100%. But looking at the schedule that the New England Patriots have, they open up with Miami on the road, Pittsburgh on the road, a good defense, then at home versus the Ravens, a good defense. Then the Packers, a good team all around, and then the Detroit, and then Browns, and then Bears. So if they do not figure this out soon, and very, very, very soon, we could see a very, very rough season for the New England Patriots. And it would not surprise me if they start off with like a 2-3 win going into the bye week 10, that Matt Patricia might be out of town, just because why are you going to come in here and change the offense that I've been running for years to make this zone scheme and everybody hates it and we suck at it? Like, get it back. Like,
yeah, and Alpha Rob again. Don't be surprised if the Pat. Go figure. Alpha Rob thinks that the Pats might be a last place. They're not worse than the Dolphins.
Yeah. Yes, they are.
No, they're not. They're not worse than the Jets either.
So
Stop.
Okay, so first things first is the Jets have quietly built a damn good team. Yes, they had an offensive lineman that is going to miss the whole year, Mikael Peckham from Louisville. He hurt his knee today in training camp, which he is probably going to miss most of the season, if not all of the season. But they are like the Cleveland Browns, Combs. They had a lot of first round picks, a lot of first overall picks. And when you start building a team like that with Zach Wilson and you add some weapons around them, I mean, the Jets have a last place schedule just like your Chicago Bears do. They have an easy schedule.
They've also got a last place roster.
Who does? The Jets do?
The Jets. I mean, come on, man. Look, who's he throwing? Who's Zach Wilson throwing to, or Joe Flacco throwing to? Whichever one wins that.
It's going to be Zach Wilson. You are not starting Joe Flacco.
You got Breece Hall running the ball. You've got Elijah Moore, Corey Davis. The other guy's Garrett Wilson. Come on. When have you ever met, just like when we were talking about earlier with a guy's name Albert, when have you ever met an athletic Garrett?
Okay, so first things first. you are looking at their fourth, fifth, sixth receiver. There,
Are you gonna make me pull up the depth chart?
Michael Carter is probably going to win that starting job in the backfield. Elijah Moore is damn good. Corey Davis is damn good. They also picked up the Bengals tight end and CJ Uzma as well. Not to add that their defense, they have drafted so well, just like what my man Alpha Rob says here. The Jets do have talent, and they drafted well. They have drafted very well over the last couple years. Ever since Adam Gase has been out of town, the Jets have been pretty solid. Last year, Combs, do you realize a injury-plagued New York Jets went toe-to-toe with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? They were a 4th and 2 away from Zach Wilson upsetting the great Tom Brady with nobody that was healthy. They had second stringers everywhere, like
So
the
the Patriots took a week off because they thought they had a bye week, and the Jets almost won one game. The Jets won 4 games last year, Buck. They were 4-13.
But you have to look beyond that, Combs. They played
They
very
beat
well,
Tennessee.
very well the
I'll
second
give them
half
that.
of the
They beat Tennessee
season.
last year. They beat the Bengals. You know, those two good wins, and then they beat
played
Houston, beat
very
Jacksonville.
well the last second part of the season. Now, let's
very well the second part of the season. What are you talking about? The second
Yes.
part of the season, they lost 45-17 to Buffalo, 24-17 to Miami, 33-18 to Philly, 30-9 to the New Orleans Saints.
You
They
have to
lost
look beyond the
30
box score. Look beyond the box score. Like, you have to see the play of Zach Wilson the second part of the season. Because do you realize, like, the first 3 or 4 games
He
of the
didn't
season,
have a passing yard. He never threw for more than 226 passing yards the second half of
because
the
everybody
season.
was hurt. 200 yards passing is nothing to flap an eye about.
Something
look
to
at-
Flacco about.
Yeah, look at Mr. League MVP himself, Lamar Jackson. How many yards does he throw in a game? 160?
Yeah, because he
Like, come
rushes
on.
for 475 of them.
It doesn't matter. You have to look beyond the box score. The box score tells me that the Jets are going to be good. Miami Dolphins are not going to be bad. That is just me being a flat out hater saying how bad they're going to be. They have a pretty good defensive side of the ball. The New England Patriots, I am going to take a page out of Wyatt Williams, Mr. Waffle himself, book here. They are going to be either really good or really bad. There
I'll
is
give you
no
this,
mediocre
the Jets
point for
are
the
going to be
Patriots.
improved. Instead of 4-13, they're going to be 6-11.
Okay,
So they're going to be improved.
It is still better than 5-12 from the Patriots.
No.
Look at the Patriots' schedule, Combs. It is not easy.
I'm going to look it up right now, and then I'm going to laugh at you because
Go for
I
Week 1, Miami at Miami. When's the last time New England won at Miami? I'll wait.
last year.
No, was it last year?
Yeah, it was last year.
Okay, well, historically,
Then
the
play
Patriots played bad.
Mitch Trubisky's Steelers in week 2. So they're 2-0 going into that game against Baltimore. They might lose against Baltimore, but Baltimore has a way to screw things up, especially at home. Then they play the Packers. That might be a loss, but again, I'm down on the Packers this year. Then they've got the Lions. Then they've got the Browns, who that's week 6, so they still don't have Deshaun Watson back.
They will have him back.
Then they get my Bears, which they're going to lose that game, so you can chalk that up as a loss. But then they get the Jets, the Colts, and the Jets again. So they're 2-1 in those 3 games. Then they get the Vikings, the Bills, the Cardinals, the Raiders, the Bengals, the Dolphins, and the Bills. So that last, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games there. That last 6 games, maybe 3-3, maybe 2-4 even. But before they get there, they're going to be, somewhere around 8-4, 9-3. They'll be just fine, barring a Mac Jones injury, obviously. But I mean, you never count on injuries. So
They have Bailey Zapp, baby. He'll fill him perfect.
Brian Hoyer's the backup, first of all.
They drafted Bailey Zapp for a reason, to win them a Super Bowl. But honestly, the Patriots defense is terrible, Combs. Last year they were ranked 16th in total yardage. That is exact middle.
They were injured a lot last year, but they've got Matthew Judon, who is easily one of the best linebackers in the game. Okay, top 5 linebacker in the game right now.
What did he do last year?
Dietrich Wise
tackles?
is a stud defensive end.
He had 38 tackles
They've
last
got
year.
Devin McCourty still. They've got Kyle Duggar. They've got Terrence Mitchell, who's a really good cornerback. I mean, Malcolm Butler is back on the team again. Barring injury, there is no way that this team is worse than second place in this division. I'm sorry,
so-
it's just not happening.
So let's have you put a number on that. 7 wins, 9 wins, 10 wins. Like, what do you?
They're a
thinking
10-win
here?
team. They're a 10-win team. They're a 10-win team, but the Bills are a 13 to 14-win team.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, like, we are not taking anything. Like, this is the Bills' division to lose. Like the Bills literally have to shit the bed twice on Sunday for them to be even under 10 wins. I feel like there's just so much talent like on the team. But
Yeah, this Patriots team, they're not going to be the last place team in the division. That's nonsense.
okay, we will see. We will see. Alpha Rob says I like the running back the Jets drafted. I don't know who that running back is. Let's look it up. I'm not very good with drafts at all. They drafted
I'm trying to think of his name.
Breece Hall from Iowa State. I
Yeah.
did see him play a lot at Iowa State. He definitely ran through my Wildcats a lot in that final game of the season. So they say the Patriots have no talent on offense and lost their best defense of player. That is true. Although
No talent on offense.
if you look at the Patriots roster on the offensive side of the ball, do any of those names come out and scare you? Does Devontae Parker come out and
Devontae
scare
Parker
you?
is a nice
Does-
wide receiver.
does-
Nelson Aguilar is a sneaky wide. I wouldn't be surprised if Nelson Aguilar ends up being a 2 or 3 wide receiver on this team.
Yeah.
Jacoby Myers is really good.
I think
like
he is
Jacoby
the
Myers
best
a lot.
receiver on that team.
I like
Myers.
Jacoby Myers a lot. Kendrick Bourne is. I mean, look, he came from San Francisco, right? I can't remember.
I believe so.
But these guys, they've got. Look, they're not scary by any stretch of the imagination. But let's look at the history of the New England Patriots, and I know it was
That
with
was
Tom Brady,
Yeah.
but let's look at all the wide receivers over the course of the last 20 plus years. Name me other than and don't say obviously Randy Moss. But other than Randy Moss, name me one wide receiver that scares you on any other team other than the New England Patriots.
The Vikings.
No, I said name one other wide receiver other than Randy Moss.
Oh, Wes
Because they had
Welker.
Randy Moss for 3 seasons. Wes Welker's not. Wes Welker's a slot receiver on any other team in the league.
Which he was a slot. So
No, he
but-
was a number 1 for the Patriots, and so
but
was.
that's kind of like a minute point just because Tom Brady.
I'm just
made
saying
them
you
better.
can right, but there's no saying that Mac Jones can't do the same thing. Just like there's no saying
But
over
he
here in
hasn't
Chicago
proven
that
it, though.
Justin Fields can't have a good season just because he doesn't have an elite number 1 wide receiver, right?
So
The quarterback can make guys better, right? The offensive line, the running back can make wide receivers better. That stuff can happen. So you might not look at any names and see that scare you, but you do see talent on that side of the ball.
there is talent, but don't you feel like a quarterback has to prove that he can make these talented receivers talented, right? Because
But Mac Jones has that. Mac Jones showed me that last year. He didn't show you that last year?
he shown me that he can throw the ball to a wide open receiver, yes, but he has not shown the ability to throw open a receiver yet.
He
Tom
basically
Brady-
had the same wide receiver core that he has last year.
But they're not going to be wide open because they're going to expect it more. You know
They
what I'm
got better though with Devontae Parker, no? They didn't get better at wide receiver with Devontae Parker.
The
And, I
problem
mean,
is
he still had a 67% completion percentage,
Right.
threw for 3,800 yards, 22 touchdowns to 13 interceptions. As a Bears fan, I take that every day of the week.
well, that is just that is just a problem as a Bears
That'd be
fan.
the greatest season a Bears quarterback has ever had.
But like I'm not trying to say that Mac Jones is bad and those names on the receiver list are bad.
What's
but,
up, Soup Boss?
But Mac Jones has not shown me that he can make players better, elevate them, throw them open. Now, if he has that ability to throw Devontae Parker open, to throw Jacoby Myers open, like we are looking at a very dangerous team. Then yes, but right now they're average.
I don't think that they're average. I really don't. And again, but to sit there and say that the Patriots are going to be the worst team in the division, the Patriots are worse than the Dolphins, or worse than the Jets. I mean, that's not a realistic statement. I mean, it's just not. They're better on paper even than those teams.
So you are taking it like a negative, like we're talking down on the Patriots.
You said they're going to be the worst team in the division.
Yes, I did say that.
This isn't a 4-team, 11-win division.
But look at the other side of the coin. That just shows you how much better the Jets and the Dolphins have gotten better.
What they win last year? 10 games?
What, the Dolphins?
Patriots. No, the Patriots.
I thought they were 10-7. I'm not for sure.
All right, so 10-7. So do you have them taking a step back then?
Yes, to 8-7 wins. Yes,
7-8. Wow.
So yeah, the Patriots were 10-7 last season, and so let's look at it just like this. So the Buffalo Bills were 11-6 last season. The Patriots were 10-7, and the Dolphins were 9-8. This offseason alone, do you think the Miami Dolphins got 2 games better?
So basically, you're asking me, is Tyreek Hill worth 2 games?
Well, the addition of Tyreek Hill, the addition of a new offensive coordinator that is going to put the speed of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle into use, the addition of a running game that's probably going to be deadly as well, like just the whole package. I'm going to go out on a limb and say yes, that is 2 or 3 games better. And then let's say you are right. Let's say Teddy Bridgewater does start by week 7 for Miami. Doesn't that make them at least a game better?
The problem is, I'm not a believer in Tua. So it depends on how short of a leash they have with Tua. Because I think Teddy Bridgewater could do some damage with this offense. And then if let me throw a wild card here at you. Roquan Smith wants out of Chicago. If he ends up in Miami, I mean, then yes, I'm gonna tell you they're 2 games better with the weapons that they've added. But I'm not a believer in Tua. I don't think Tua can get it done. So no, I wouldn't say that they got 2 games better.
So they're still a 9-8 team, or are they a losing team this particular year?
I think they're somewhere right around where they were last year, 7 to 8. Again, though, it depends on how short of a leash they have with Tua. I think Teddy Bridgewater, say Tua gets hurt in week 2. Yep. Teddy Bridgewater comes and takes over the helm. Say Tua does something that I don't want to see it, but let's say like he tears an ACL or something, right?
Teddy Bridgewater comes in. Issues, yeah.
Teddy Bridgewater comes in and runs this team. Then yes, they're better than the Patriots right now. Yeah, on paper.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we're strictly just on paper, big just because, like, on the field, I would probably take Bill Belichick versus the Miami Dolphins just because.
And I don't like the fact that they got rid of their head coach. I mean, getting rid of Brian Flores, I think, was the worst move the Dolphins had all season long.
Well, it was kind of a sue me. I gotta let you go, right? But then let's look at the Jets. The Jets finished 4-13 last season. Through this year's draft, I think they got at least 3 games better, if not 4. So that puts them at 7 to 8 wins as well, and that comes from the Patriots wins there. So I think they might sweep the Patriots this season.
Pull up Drew's comment.
Don't you think Bridgewater will mentor Tua?
No, and here's why. And we talked about it earlier, right? Look, Teddy Bridgewater on the field is a very solid quarterback. I like Teddy Bridgewater on the field leading my team, right? But behind the scenes, this guy gets bounced after year 1 of every team he's been on. And we've said it before, there's a reason why Teddy Bridgewater doesn't stick around for a second season with teams. There's a reason why teams don't continue to give him a chance. We don't know what those reasons are. Is it lack of leadership? Is it the fact that maybe he doesn't practice hard? Are they seeing something in the film room? But I don't think he's a guy that's going to come in and mentor Tua. And to be honest with you, I don't think Tua thinks he needs a mentor. I think Tua thinks he's the real deal, and he's just not. I think everybody's gotten into his head like Tua's great. Tua's going to be this. Tua's going to be that. He's not. And I said that while he was in freaking Alabama. Like, I did not think he was going to be a good NFL quarterback. And Teddy Bridgewater, I don't think is the guy that you really want mentoring him, because Teddy Bridgewater is the guy who wants his job.
So Teddy Bridgewater was the guy in Minnesota. He blew up his knee, and then he got the short end of the stick, right? And then ever since then, it is like he's had something to prove a little bit. I gotta bring that up in a sec, like in a second. But when you have something to prove, Drew, over and over with that consistent chip on your shoulder, you aren't out there trying to help another player get better just because the hindsight is, I want to start. I want to do better than this guy. Why am I going to help him to try to improve? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I just don't see it.
Chad says, "Yep, Flores was the biggest loss for them, hands down. The Jets." Buck put down the old. I don't know what that is. What's the Old Doles?
It's a non-alcoholic beer.
Oh, this is Mountain Dew. Suit boss, you know I cannot drink on the show anymore just because Joe said it is bad. And then he says banging Mills doesn't equal wins on the field, just in the sheets.
Oh my God.
Man. Wilson is winning in the NFL.
No. Oh God.
Alrighty.
He messed that up though. He meant to put MFL.
Yeah. It's okay. Speaking of MFL, Michael freaking Thomas is officially back at Saints camp. Combs. Your boy Jameis Winston finally has his number one receiver. Alvin Kamara suspended for the first 4 or 6 games of the season. But how big is this for the Saints? Like, is this good for them? Bad for them?
If he can stay healthy, I mean that's the big thing. Can Michael Thomas stay healthy? I do, like the fact that Jameis has a number one wide receiver. You also got Jarvis Landry there now. I do like Chris Olave as well, but then you've got Alvin Kamara being injured, and I think that's really going to hurt. Look, I like Mark Ingram, I like Malcolm Brown, but they're not Alvin Kamara, and he carries a big load for them, right? And Andy Dalton sitting behind Jameis Winston, it's one of those where I just want to see where Winston's head's at, right? Like, I want to see how they're using him too. Like, I don't want to see them, not allowing Jameis to be Jameis. I want to see them doing what they had been doing and putting him in a position to succeed. New head coach, new offense, new everything over there in New Orleans. I want to see where they go with this. And I love me some Jameis Winston. I think Jameis Winston can be a top 10 quarterback in this league. Do I think he's a top 10 quarterback in this league right now? My stance on that has changed just because since when I started saying it a couple of years ago, there's been some rookies that have come up and have been really damn good that have kind of bumped him back a little bit. But he's still a top 15 quarterback in this league. And if they use him correctly, you know what I mean? Like Justin Fields to me could have been a lot better last year had he had a coaching staff that used him correctly, right? He wouldn't be this guy that people were about if they used him correctly. And that's where Jameis Winston is at as well.
Yeah, so Jameis Winston is coming off a ACL injury. What he tore like week 6, week 7. It was kind of the middle of the season, right? So with that being said, I don't know. I mean, yes, ACL injuries now have come a long way, and basically like 9 to 10 months is the recovery process of of that. But Combs, Jameis Winston isn't even the best quarterback on his team right now. You understand they have Andy Dalton on that team, Mr. 37-year-old man himself, Andy Dalton will probably end up winning that starting job, and that will catapult the Saints into a playoff competing team with Michael Thomas and the signing of Jarvis Landry, which is very, 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 very huge. So Combs, Soup Boss asked this question. He says, is Kamara a worthy guy to go after for a big trade in a dynasty league, knowing he'll be rested later in the season?
If you've got depth. If you've got the ability to have a running back on the, I don't know if sometimes there are certain leagues that don't allow you to take a suspended player and put them on the IR. So if you've got the open spots and if you're deep enough at running back that you can get by with them, for the first 6, is it 6 games?
I thought it was 4 games. All
right, so whatever it is for the first 4 to 6 weeks, I mean that's huge in fantasy football. Right. And so if you can, then yeah, I mean he's a worthy guy to go after. It depends on what you're trading too, though. Like, what are you giving up to get Alvin Kamara, knowing that he's going to be gone for 4 weeks? Are you just trading a couple draft picks? Are you trading, a number 1 or number 2 running back? Are you trading, a number 1 wide receiver? Or are you trading like your bottom of the barrel plus a couple of draft picks or maybe a backup quarterback? Something like that might be worth it. But
he said he has JT and Zeke. I would trade Zeke for Alvin Kamara.
I would trade Zeke for Alvin Kamara right now and let him sit and maybe pick up a running back off the waiver wire that might be able to help you out for a few weeks. There's a few of them sitting out there that that you might be able to get. I don't know how many teams you have in your league or what it looks like.
17 running backs. He has Chuba and Ingram on the bench too.
Yeah, I mean, you might be able to go out and get Malcolm Brown right now. And Malcolm Brown, I think, is going to see a lot of touches for the Saints. And then if you go out and trade and you pick up Alvin Kamara and then you pick up Malcolm Brown, you've got the guy who's probably going to be taking a load for him for the first 4 weeks. And then you're going to get the guy who's going to come back and take over once he gets back. So I would he's got Ingram and Chuba on the bench. Or Chuba. He's Chubb is probably what he's saying. But I don't. Yeah, I mean, I would go and get him.
I would counter Zeke for Alvin Kamara straight up.
Yeah.
So the reason why I think Zeke is a top running back in the league, if not the best running back in the league, but he is not a 3-down back anymore, and Tony Pollard is going to carry the ball a lot this season. Tony Pollard is probably going to be a sleeper pick for a lot of teams.
I don't think. Well, if you're just drafting, yes. But he's talking about a dynasty league, so they've already got their team set up.
Right.
And I think in a dynasty league, a lot of times, sometimes you don't drop anybody, and then sometimes you drop 1 or 2 players, and then you have a mini draft at the end of every season. But it really just depends on what you're looking at. Like, I'd have to see the rosters and all that stuff. But I mean, look, Soup Boss knows what he's doing. Soup Boss knows.
He has 7 running backs.
He's got Pollard too.
That's like 7, 8 running backs.
No, you don't trade. No, you don't need Alvin Kamara. You've got every other running back in the league. Kamara can stay on somebody else's team.
If we think about this, though, Alvin Kamara has been a staple for the Saints offense for many, many years. Many passing yards, many rushing yards. And Mark Ingram is his backup. And Mark Ingram's like 30 years old. So, and like Combs years, that's like 90 in like running back years, right? So actually Mark Ingram's 32 years old. So, I mean, he's not going to do a whole lot for you. So, Alvin Kamara is going to get the ball a lot.
Yeah, and look, I'm telling you right now, Soup, if you're listening, that if Malcolm Brown's available, I don't know if you guys have done your draft yet. I don't know if you guys just put guys on the waiver wire right away. I don't know how it works in your league. But if you can go out and get him, I would definitely go out and get him because Malcolm Brown, I think, is going to be a stud in this league, and I think he's going to take over for Alvin Kamara.
I believe Soup Boss just won his draft by this particular statement right here. He has Pollard as a handcuff for Zeke, Ingram for the time Kamara is out, and Chuba when CMC dies on the field for week 3.
Oh, God.
There you go. And then you put him on the IR, and then you trade CMC and Zeke for Alvin Kamara.
That would be a good trade. I'm with Buck on this one, and I don't say this often, Soup. You know that, but I'm with Buck on this one. CMC and Zeke for Alvin Kamara, especially with the depth you have at running back, that might be a really smart trade, and it'll free up a roster spot for you to go out and get Malcolm Brown. It's a really that's where I would go with it if that was my team.
Like, I'm no fantasy expert by any means, but we do have some fantasy experts in our fantasy discussion group, guys. If you guys are interested in some fantasy football talk, head over to Facebook and join our fantasy group there. Tori Anderson and our man Tyler Faber does a lot of fantasy stuff there, and he has Rojo as well. I have to drop someone. So Combs, let me ask you this: the Chiefs picked up Rojo this year. Do you think that's a good pickup in fantasy league?
No, I don't like any. I don't like any running
backs now.
I don't like any running back from the Chiefs. It's kind of like, for me, it's almost like the running backs for New Orleans pre Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
Right, because they were going to pass so often that your running backs weren't going to get a whole lot of touches. So I don't like teams like that. Like, if you're looking for running backs, you're going to teams like the Tennessee Titans, who run the ball a ton. Obviously you're probably, unless you're drafting this year, but if you're in a dynasty league, you're not going to get King Henry, but you can always pick up backups off the Tennessee Titans, because King Henry's going to be out for 2 or 3 games, and that they're going to run the ball a ton, because that's what they do. Even when they're behind, they run the ball.
With
guys
Derrick
like
Henry, just without him in there, Ryan Tannehill was throwing the ball for 300 plus yards though.
Yeah, I mean, but you look at teams like even my Chicago Bears. I mean, you're probably not going to find David Montgomery in a dynasty league, but you can probably go out and find yourself Khalil Herbert. Take yourself a guy like Khalil Herbert, and you can stack him on the bench, and then you start watching the way things are going. And because I think that they might run a 2-back system, they run the ball a lot. That's what Bears offense is made of. I know what they've got in Justin Fields, so maybe they start passing the ball a little bit more, but I think they're going to be run heavy. And Luke Getsy knows how to do that. I mean, we've seen it in Green Bay.
So also, Soup, since you love to draft running backs, there is a running back on the Kansas City roster that I've been leaning towards taking very, very end, like a free agent pickup. That is Isaiah Paseo. He was actually drafted as a receiver. He is listed as a running back, and he is going to play a lot of 3 to number 4 receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs, kind of being like that Tyreek Hill type of guy. He has a lot of speed. They're going to get him with a lot of reverses, a lot of shuffle passes, and when Clyde Edwards-Helaire does get hurt by week 3, week 4, you can see him a lot in the second, third down back as well. So.
JD McKissick is going to be another good pickup. JD McKissick is in Washington now, and I think he's going to be another guy who ends up seeing a lot of touches out there in Washington. They're going to be a team that runs the ball a lot too.
All right, and we're going to end on that note. Gardner Minshew is by far the worst quarterback in all of NFL. I don't care what you guys say. You suck it. You suck it. Combs, it is great for you to be back, man. It feels like old times.
Yes,
I got
sir.
McLovins right here on the like on the floor biting me. My pussy wants inside.
Oh boy.
Glad to have you back, man. Any closing thoughts?
It's always good to be back. Man Hour Nation, rise up.